Are the people who run the show evil? Are the people at the top of this thing that we call society, are they evil? Simple question, but one that I think a lot of people haven't spent as much time seriously thinking about as they think they've spent thinking about. And for the past few days on my website, we've been having a discussion, many participants going back and forth on this topic. And it's fair to say that several of them disagree with the position that I am putting forward. Fortunately for me, over the past 18 months, the kind of audience that I've attracted to my website is very different to your typical conspiracy or alternative type of audience. That is, these people are, generally speaking, open-minded and willing to have their opinions challenged without getting triggered, which is one of the reasons why I feel so fortunate to be doing what I'm doing. But of course, with the regular conspiracy crowd, if you even suggest the possibility that maybe the people who run the show are not evil, boy oh boy will they get triggered, because this seems to be the one central tenet of the conspiracy realm, is that we all must agree that whoever is at the top of this, whoever they are, whether they're human families with ancient bloodlines, or it's some kind of ruling 13 family group, or some Vatican group, or the Jews, or the Jesuits, or whoever they think it is, everybody has to agree that the people at the top are evil and they're out to harm us all. That seems to be something that everybody has to agree on. A little bit like how, of all the different denominations of Christianity that exist, the one thing they all agree on is that there was some dude called Jesus a couple thousand years ago. Pretty much all self-proclaimed Christians agree on that. Beyond that, you get all kinds of disagreements, but so long as you believe in this dude called Christ, well, you're a Christian, aren't you? And that seems to be how it is with the broader alternative conspiracy truth realm, the ACT realm as I call it. The one thing that everybody must agree on is that the people who run the show are evil. And I have to confess that I did believe that. Pretty much close to certain I was for quite a while that the people who run the show are evil. And I'm still open-minded to that possibility. However, I'm no longer as convinced as I used to be. In fact, I'm not convinced at all anymore. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. I'm no longer convinced that the people who run the show are evil.
I knew it all along. I knew that JLB was a paid shill, a plant sent to destroy the truth movement. I knew it.
Well, just hold your horses there, guys, because in this video I'm going to share with you very briefly one of the reasons why I've been challenging this lately. Challenging myself, my former beliefs, and also challenging some of the people on my website. And if you can hear a train in the background, please forgive me. I live right near a train line. So what you've got on your screen here is the poster artwork for a film called The Dish. And this was released in Australia in the year 2000. And our film industry in this country isn't a particularly sizable or prominent film industry, but they do release some successful films, at least domestically, every now and then occasionally also some successful films internationally. And the film The Dish in 2000, I only just found this out tonight, check this out. They reckon it was the top grossing film in Australia in 2000. I remember it being a big film. I don't remember it being that big, but whatever. It was successful in Australia. I'm not sure how successful it was around the world. What are they saying? They don't even list the box office. What does it say here? 18 million in Australia. Doesn't say what it received around the rest of the world. The thing is, anyway, getting back to this poster artwork. So this was released in the year 2000, and the I guess the byline here says, "As Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon, our only link was a satellite dish in rural Australia with a few bugs and a few hundred sheep. The Dish, based on the true story of what we didn't see." And this is the actual poster artwork from the film. Now, I remember seeing this at the cinemas. I remember being 12 or 13 years old and seeing this film at the cinemas. And one of the reasons I remember seeing it is because my friend and I, we rode our push bikes our BMX bikes to the cinemas to see this film, and his got stolen. I remember this because I was just riding this crappy... My bicycle was crappy, right? He was riding a Mongoose, and I don't know how popular they were around the world, but back when I was a young dude, Mongooses were the bike to have, and so he had a pretty decent bike. So both of our bikes were locked up outside the cinemas, but his was the one that got stolen. And I'm only laughing now because it's funny looking back, but obviously it wasn't funny at the time. And I was actually the one that found my bike there, but his bike was missing, and his lock was had been bolt cutted. So I found the lock. I found the broken lock because he hadn't left. I think he stayed in there to maybe get something to eat afterwards or something. I can't remember. But I'd gone to the bikes before him, and I found the lock. So I was like, okay, I can see what's happened here. Walked back in, found him, showed him the broken lock. He thought I was playing a prank on him. We went outside, and sure enough, his bike was gone. And yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that happened to him. But it was funny. It's funny that they just left my bike alone because my bike was a hunk of shit. So I remember that day really well, and I remember seeing this film, and I guess I enjoyed it. It's kind of funny. It's a comedy. But let me tell you why I'm talking about all this. So this film, The Dish, is a film that was released 17, 18 years ago. And look at that artwork. Take a look at it. You've got... And okay, so the story of The Dish is supposedly a satellite dish, a Earth-based dish was required to help the feed of the Apollo 11 mission. So supposedly, because of Australia's location on the Earth, on the spherical or sphere-like Earth, for the moon landing, supposedly dishes in rural Australia, in outback Australia, were required to help with the transmission feed, supposedly. And so this is a film that is meant to be a comedy based on, these basically these hick Australians, these outback, simple Australians, doing their best to help in the greatest thing that man has ever done, walk on the moon, okay? That's the basis of the story. That's the basis of this film. That's the plot line. Now look at this poster artwork. You've got a man on the TV screen, a man on the moon on the TV screen, and what's watching it? What are watching this? A whole bunch of sheep. And what was that byline we said? As Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon, our only link was a satellite dish in rural Australia with a few bugs and a few hundred sheep. And then it says, based on the true story of what we didn't see, as opposed to the fake story of what we did see. I look at this artwork. I mean, look at these sheep, right? Look at these sheep watching the TV. They're watching the TV. The moon. The man landing on the moon. The man on the moon. The Apollo 11 missions on the TV being watched by the sheep. How much more obvious do they have to make it to you? How much more obvious do they have to make it to you? Okay, now most of you who are watching this video, most of you who have stuck around for 5 or 10 minutes watching this, you know full well the moon landings are a complete load of nonsense. You know that. But most of you think, oh, they did it to harm us in some way. They're doing it to hurt us and blah, blah, blah. And maybe they are. But let's just say that they have their own reasons for wanting to fool the masses, right? And I'll get to that in a moment. But let's just say whoever runs a show has their own reasons for wanting to fool the masses. But they also want to make it very clear to anyone who can still think for themselves that this is all a joke. Could they be any more blatant, short of telling you explicitly, could they be any more blatant than this kind of poster artwork? Could they make it any more blatant for you? Okay, suppose they're playing a bit of a joke on the masses. Could they be trying to convey this to you, the person who can think for him or herself? Could they be doing any more of a job trying to convey this to you, that this is all a joke? Okay, what more would you like them to do? This is one poster artwork. There are so many examples in so-called fiction of the moon landings being faked. There was that whole film, Capricorn 1, which is telling you quite blatantly, we faked the moon landings. They just replaced the moon with Mars. Okay, they couldn't make it too much more obvious. In fact, there are several scenes where they just replace what we were shown as the moon landings. They recreate it just with red dirt rather than white dirt, right? So there's entire films dedicated to telling you The moon landings were fake, okay? You don't have to believe in them. These are just the silly stories that we give to the silly people. Now you might say to me, okay then, but why are they deceiving the masses? Well, that takes a little bit longer to explain, and I don't pretend to know exactly why they're doing it, but I've got my theories, and they're what I've been sharing lately on our member Skype calls, and that's where all this discussion has been taking place. Because like I said, some of the members of the website, they still think that the people who run the show are evil. And again, maybe they are. I'm open-minded to this. I used to believe this myself. But that's a conversation that's been happening. And so, like I said, that in that particular call, I explained in a bit more detail why I think they're doing this. But the point I'm simply trying to make is that when we look at this kind of poster artwork, once upon a time I thought, oh, they're playing a trick on us. They're mocking us. Now I realise that, okay, maybe they're mocking the masses. But I mock the masses. I mock them all the time. I call them normies. I laugh at how funny it is that they believe such ridiculous nonsense. I'm laughing all the time. I'm just not as funny or as clever a prankster as these guys are. Because these guys can make artwork like this, put it out there for the masses to see, make it blatant like this, and get away with it. I don't think I would have the chutzpah to come up with this kind of artwork and put it in people's faces like that. But these guys, they do. And in doing that, they're making it clear for the 0.00 something % of people with eyes to see, they're making it very clear to us, hey guys, by the way, you know those silly stories we tell the lemmings? You don't have to believe them. It's all a joke, okay? Man never went to the moon. This is just silly, alright? They're telling us. I think they're telling us. I think they're making it very clear for those of us with eyes to see. That's just my opinion. And I could be wrong about that. I could be wrong. And I'll get back to that in a moment. Before I do, I forgot to mention, The Dish, it wasn't just an Australian film. It also had this guy, Patrick John Warburton. I don't know how you pronounce that name. Patrick John Warburton. That's Putty from Seinfeld. You know Putty? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Putty. Putty was in the film, The Dish. He was, let's have a look here. See? He was Al Burnett. And what's funny to me about that is I didn't remember that until I looked up The Dish to make this video. And I was like, hold on, that's Putty. I don't watch much TV, but tonight, when I was flicking to watch the cricket, I also quickly went to Channel 101, which is our TV hits. Anyway, they had an episode of Seinfeld on, and there was Putty. And then a couple of hours later, I started making this video, and it turns out that Putty was in The Dish. This is what we call a synchronicity. And if you're interested in synchronicities and this concept of things that happen that seem like amazing coincidences, but maybe they're the cosmos talking to you, or maybe there's some other thing going on. There are different explanations for these things, synchronicities. I'll put a link in the info box to a video available completely for free on my website. Go and check it out. It's to do with synchronicities. But that one really stood out to me. But anyway, getting back to this artwork, yeah. So, guys, look, maybe the people who run the show are evil. I used to see the world that way, and it was a pretty horrible way to live my life, I have to confess. It's not pleasant to see the world that way. Or at least it wasn't for me. But I'm a very empathetic person. I have much empathy for people. So if I feel that everybody is being abused by evil people at the top, that hurts me. It hurts me every day to see that. Now that I've come around to this idea that maybe the people who run the show are not evil, maybe they're just taking the piss out of the normies the same way that I do, hoping that the normies, some of them will wake up. They're like, guys, come on, wake up. Come on, guys. Wake up. Bloody sheep watching the TV. Come on. How obvious do we have to make it? Now I feel a lot more pleasant about my life. I feel much more optimistic, much more hopeful. I feel good. I feel good about life. I feel good about 2018. I feel good about what I'm doing. I feel good about the technology that I'm using, and I just feel better. Now, I'm not saying that I no longer believe the people who run the show are evil so I can feel better. I'm saying that once I started challenging my own premises and my own logic and my conclusions, and then I got rid of this belief or this certainty that the people who run the show are evil, once I got rid of that, I noticed I was feeling better, and then I saw that this was no coincidence. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the cause and effect was challenge premises, search for evidence, realize that previous preconceived notion was wrong or not supported by the logic and the evidence, so amend the belief. Then the effect was, hey, I'm feeling a lot better about life. Who convinced me that the people who run the show are evil? Who convinced me of that? Why did I spend so much time so convinced that the people who run the show are evil? So I thought I'd share that with you guys. So here's what I want you to do. In the comments section below, please share with me Do you think the people who run the show are evil? And if so, why? Why do you believe that they're evil? Are you willing to reconsider this belief? Are you willing to look at your own premises and your own logic and the evidence to support your claims? Are you willing to look at opposing ideas, opposing opinions, these kinds of things? Or is this something that you take as axiomatic, dogmatically? They are evil, and that's your starting point. Share with me your thoughts in the comments below. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say. And if you're interested to see the discussion that's going on the website, I've got some bad news. It's only for the members of the website who can partake in that conversation, because that particular call is behind the paywall, as are all of the member Skypes, which is a real bummer for those of you who can't afford the $5 a week to access it. But the good news is you can partake in the comments section below, so please do that. Leave your comments. Why are they putting it right in our faces like this? Is it possible that they're not evil and they're trying to encourage us to think for ourselves, and mocking those who refuse to think for themselves the same way that I mock them, the same way that I mock the normies? John the Bon on the 10th of January 2018. This is my second video for 2018, so only 2 of these YouTube videos in 10 days. I made more than 100 last year, and I think I made close to 100 the year before that. And that's just YouTube videos that I make for free for people like you to watch them completely for free. I don't know if I'll make that many this year, but every now and then, if I've got a Wednesday free and I don't have to wake up early on the Thursday, I don't mind making one of these videos. So that's what I've made for you. I've made this video for you. Hopefully you found it entertaining or engaging or thought-provoking. All I ask in return is that you leave your comments in the comment section below, and we'll see where the conversation goes. And I am willing to bet that the conversation will not be as good in the comment section as it has been on the website, because like I said, by having my paywall, it filters out all of the retards and the conspiratards, the people who get triggered so easily. Really, truly pathetic people. You know what? If the people who run the show have made this poster artwork to mock those of you who get triggered by somebody just asking questions, then I say good. I find this poster artwork particularly funny. Even though I've seen it many times, I still find this funny. And if you're the kind of retard who gets triggered by questions, then I say good. I hope they are mocking you. I wish I was as good at mocking you as they are. But me, I don't think I could come up with something like this. This is truly brilliant. So, on the 10th of January 2018, John the Bon, and until next time, you guys, take care of yourselves.